Alright class, today we're going to do measures of central tendency with actual graphs and whatnot. So, just a quick little refresher. We have numbers called measure of central tendency that we use to describe data. Okay? We have the mean. Alright? The mean is actually really mean, like a mean teacher. The reason why the mean is so mean is because what we do is we find the sum of the numbers, or you're going to add all the numbers up. You got to add a lot of numbers sometimes. So we add all of them up, and then we divide by how many numbers we added up. That's why the mean's so mean. We kind of have to add all of them up, and then we divide by how many numbers we added up. Ha 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 ha. The median. The median is also known as the middle number. Okay, now, we can call it the middle number, but a very important thing is that before we figure out which one is the middle number, our numbers have to be ordered from least to greatest. They have to be in numerical order, meaning they're in order from least to greatest when we are finding the median. The mode is the number that appears the most. So MO, it's the number that appears the most, or the most frequent. Okay, it means the same thing. And then last we have our range. The range is the difference between our biggest number and our smallest number. So we're going to take our biggest number and we subtract the smallest number to find our range. So let's go ahead and find each of these using this set of data. So again, to find the mean is mean. We're going to add all of these up first. So go ahead, get out your calculator, start adding real quick for me. When we add those up, we get 35. Now remember, after you add all of them up, you then have to divide by how many numbers we added. So we added them up, we got 35. Now we divide by, well, there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. So we divide by 5. So 35 divided by 5, we get 7. Our mean is 7. We could also call this our average. Okay? Next up, we have to find the median. Now guys, remember to find the median here, we cannot just pick 10, our middle number. No. You gotta list these first in order from least to greatest. These are not in order yet. So go ahead, take a minute, write these in order. Pause, take a minute, some pause. All right, you should have ordered them from least to greatest. It goes 3, 6, 8, 10. Now we can find the middle number. To find the middle number, I cross off my smallest number with my highest. So I cross off 1 from here, 1 from there, I stop. I cross off 1 from here, 1 from here, I stop. And there's my middle number, 8. Okay, I got my middle number, we're done. Now guys, let's say instead that we had 3, 6, 8, and 10. Okay, so the difference now is the middle number when we would have been crossing these off. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I did this wrong. Give me one more minute. I meant to add a 9. So now the difference is when we would have gotten our middle number this time. Oh, hold on. This isn't going to work to my advantage. I wanted it to be something else. Let's say that these were our numbers instead. All right, there we go. All right, so now our middle number would have been these two. Well, we're not going to pick both of them. Instead, if you have 2 numbers in the middle, what you would do is you would add them, and then you would divide by 2. You would find the average of those 2 numbers, and that would have given us 7.5. Okay, so if there's not just one middle number, but if there's 2 in the middle, you would have to find their mean. Okay, so that's just an extra tidbit. All right, the mode. Remember, the mode is the number that we see the most. The number that we see the most here is going to be 8. So our mode in this set of data is 8. And last, the range. Again, the range is our biggest number minus our smallest number. Our biggest number is 10, and we subtract the smallest number. So our range here is going to be 7. All right, now let's look at a graph. This is called a line plot. Okay, so it's ages of teachers. If you look at this, even though they have the age 20, there's no little mark above it, meaning there are no teachers that are 20 from this data. However, we have 2 teachers that are 25. We have over here 2 teachers who are 60. If I look at 40, there's 1 teacher here. Okay, so each X represents 1 teacher. All right, there are no teachers who are exactly 50 years old. Okay, so that's how this line plot works. We put an X for each person. So I want you to count how many X's there are to determine how many teachers were surveyed. Go ahead, take a minute. All right, if you counted up all the X's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, we should have gotten 20. 20 teachers were surveyed. Now, let's say they want us to find the range in teacher ages. Well, guys, we need to only look at the ones where it's actually an age. So we have our oldest teacher is 60. Our youngest teacher is not this because no one's there. Our youngest teacher is actually 25. So we're going to do 60, which is our oldest age, minus 25 gives us a range of 35 years old. Okay? That is a line plot. Next, we are going to look at a stem and leaf graph. These are grades on a science test. Okay? So, if I were to start listing this out, the way that it works, the first grade is a 72. The next grade is a 72. The next one is a 74. Then we have a 75, a 76, a 79. We have an 81, 84, 85, 87, 87, 89, a 90, and so on. Our highest grade here, we have a 100, but actually we have 2 100s, okay? So, if we want to figure out how many total students took the science test, we would count up all the scores. Now, in all honesty, you could just count up the leaves if you wanted to, because that's 72, 72, that's 2 students so far, 74, 75, 76, 77. So that's 6 students that got like a C. So go ahead, count how many total students. Pause if you need to. We should have gotten that there were 19 students. All right, next, we're going to find the mean score, or the average score. Remember, guys, the mean is kind of mean because we got to add all of them up. So I'm doing 72 plus 72 plus 74 plus 76 plus, oops, I forgot 75, plus 76 plus 79 plus 81 plus 84, keep going all the way up to plus 100 plus another 100. Pause if you need to. Okay, go ahead and pause. Figure out what all of them add up to. All right, if you added them up correctly, we should have gotten 1,628. Now remember, to find the mean, we add up everything and then we divide by how many things we added up. Well, guys, we added 19 test scores. So it would be 1628 divided by 19, and that's going to give us an average score, or a mean, of 85.68. If you wanted to put 85.7, that's fine too. But let's round either to the nearest 10th or 100th. All right, next up is the mean. Oops, sorry. The median. Remember, the median is the middle number. We need to first be ordered from least to greatest. What's nice is these already are. Now you have a few options here. We can either write out all the scores like I started and then cross off a low, cross off a high, cross off a low, cross off a high, and keep going till you get to the middle number. Another option is I can use what's up here. Okay, but just be careful at the end, because remember, it's going to be easiest to just use the leaves, but when we get whatever the middle number is, we have this number that's part of it. So my lowest is a 72. Get rid of a low. Get rid of my highest, 100. Get rid of another low. Get rid of a high. Get rid of another low. And now right here, be careful. My highest number is not 90. It's this 98. Get rid of a low. Get rid of a high. And guys, with this, we need to be very, very careful that we don't actually get rid of two at once. So that's why I kind of stop after I do a low and then a high. I stop. Get rid of a low, get rid of a high. I stop. My low now is this 81. Get rid of a low, get rid of a high. Then we get rid of another low, get rid of a high number, get rid of a low, get rid of a high number. Now we need to be careful. My median is not just 7. Remember, it's 87. Okay? So our median is going to be that 87. Okay? And now last, our mode is the number that we see the most of. Okay? Remember, you can have more than one mode though, which we do here, because we have two 72s, two 87s, and two 100s. So we have a three-way tie for the mode. Okay? Alright, next up, we're going to use another line plot to answer some more questions. Alright, so this line plot shows the number of books in a desk. So we have one student has 0 books in their desk, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 students have 2 books. There's no one that has 1 book, etc. So the first question is, what percent of students have 4 or more books in their desk? So 4 or more, we're looking here. So we have to count up how many of those students are. All right, go ahead and count them up. You get that that is 12 students that have 4 or more books. Now, we have to be careful though, because they want what percent. Not how many, but what percent. So to turn it into a percent, there are 12 that have 4 or more books. 12 out of what's our total? Our total is 20. So we do 12 over 20. We divide. We're going to get 0.6, which will be 60%. Okay, so again, you need to look and see if they're asking how many, or if it's the percent and they want you to turn it into a percent. Next, find the mode. So guys, what number of books would be the mode? Which number was the most number of books in a desk? Well, that would be 5 books. All right, our next question. So, we know that the most number is 5, but now they ask, did most students have 5 books in their desk? Now, this is much, much, much different than just the mode. All right, the mode is what we see the most of. If they ask if most students had something, most has to be more than 50%. It has to be greater than 50%. So, to figure this out, we need to first figure out how many students had 5 books in their desk. Well, 7. Now we turn it into a percent. It's 7 out of 20. Decimal, it would be 0.35 or 35 hundredths. Turn it into a percent. It's 35%. Guys, is 35%, is that greater than 50%? No. So most students did not have 5 or more books in there. This question to the answer to this question would be no. If we had gotten exactly 50, guys, it would have also been no. We need 51 or 52 or 70. We just need bigger than 50%. All right. I want to do number 5 next here, since it has to do with what we just did. So they're asking, did most people have a shoe size of 9? Well, guys, how many people had a shoe size of 9? 5. And out of how many? Because we have to turn it into that percent. So add up how many people they were. Pause if you need to. All right, it's 5 out of 20 people. Turn it into a percent. We get 25%. Guys, is that most people? Is it more than 50%? No, it is not more. It is not more than 50%, so it would not be most. We cannot say that most people had a shoe size of 9. All right, what we're going to do next is find the median. So we need to find the middle shoe size. With this, we have to be very, 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 very careful. Okay? Because this one is actually quite tricky. Let me go ahead and make this a little bit smaller. 16. Okay. So this is very tricky. We need to list out the shoe sizes. So we have one person with the shoe size of 7. Then we have 4 people with a 7.5. So we can list 7.5 4 times. Then we have 2 people with a size 8. And we would keep listing this if we wanted to. List all the numbers. And then we could find the middle number by crossing off the smallest. Right? Cross off a small, cross off a high. Cross off one small, cross off a high. So that's one option that you can do. Another option that I tend to do is something a little bit easier. Let me show you guys what it is. So what I do is I just make little dots to represent how many people have those shoe sizes. So we have one person has a 7. Here we have 4 people that have a 7.5. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we have 2 people with a shoe size of 8. So I'm just going to use these little dots to represent the numbers. Here we have 3, 1, 2, 3. Here we have 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And here we have 3, 1, 2, 3. And for 10, we have 2 10s. So again, I do little dots to represent each number. So now I'm going to use the dots to find the middle dot. So I cross off the lowest dot with a high dot. I cross off, that's gone, so now I cross off my next lowest dot with, again, my highest. Cross off a low, cross off, I'm done here, so I move here, cross off a high. Cross off a low, cross off a high. And technically, when I'm doing this, I'm crossing off 7.5 with 9.5. Now I'm crossing off an 8, I'm crossing off one of the 9s. I'm crossing off an 8, I'm crossing off one of the 9s. All right, we keep going till we get to that middle number. Cross off a low, cross off a high, take your time. Cross off a low, cross off a high. Uh-oh, so we have 2 numbers in the middle. All right, there was not an exact middle number. Remember, when there's 2 in the middle, we find their average. We need to find their mean. So it's going to be 8.5 plus 9, because remember, if there's 2 middle numbers, we add them and we divide by 2. And that will give us 8.75 is our median. Okay, so again, to find the median, I like to use little dots to represent each time we use that number, and then I cross off the dots to get to the middle dot that represents that number. All right, let's continue. This thing is now called a frequency table. Okay, these are heights of students. All right, so we have 6 students who are 50 to 54.9 inches. 12 students are this, da-da-da-da. We've got 4 students who are 70 to 74.9 inches. Now, if we want to know how many total students were surveyed, we would add up the frequencies. All right, so we would need to figure out our total. Our total would be the 6 plus 12 plus 20 plus 3 plus 4. What do we get for our total, folks? Yeah, 45 students were surveyed. Okay? 45 students were surveyed. Now, the tricky thing here is, let's look at these 4 students. We know that they have a height of 70 to 74.9. Do we know what their height is? Are all of them 70 inches? Are they 71 inches? Is one person 71, one person 72, one person 73? Or maybe they're all 74 inches. Or maybe 2 of them are 72. One of them is 73 and one of them is 74.5. We don't know. We don't have exact numbers here because these are intervals. All right, so that's going to be something very, very important here. For example, they want us to now find the median, the middle number. Well, guys, I don't have exact numbers to find the exact middle number. So we actually can't find it. The median cannot be determined. Just like if they asked for the range, I don't know the biggest height. I don't know if it's 70 or if it's 74.9, or if the tallest person is 72 inches. We don't know how tall the smallest person is either, because these are intervals. So just like we can't find the range, we can't find the exact middle number or the median because we don't have exact numbers. We only have intervals, so we cannot find the median. However, we can find the interval that contains the median. So we can find what interval the median will be in. All right, so what we can do again is make those dots if we wanted to. I have 6 people here, 3, 4, 5, 6, is that 6? We could put 12 here. You would put 20 here, 3 here, 4 here, and so on. All right, and then you would cross off a high, cross off a low, cross off a high, cross off a low to find the middle one. Another option that I want to show you, so if you want, you can do that first, pause, and then unpause to see my second option. My second option is what we can do. Instead of crossing off those, we can use how many we have of each one. I would start with the smallest number. So it wouldn't be 6, it would be this 4. I would get rid of 4 highs, which means I need to get rid of 4 lows. 6 minus 4 gives me 2. This is now done. So now, I have 2 lows and I have 3 highs left. I start with the smallest one. I get rid of the 2 lows. I need to get rid of 2 highs. I need to keep it even. If I get rid of 2 here, I'm going to have 1 left over. All right, that's done. I have 1 high in this column thing. I have 12 lows. Get rid of the smaller one. Get rid of 1. Get rid of 1 here. I have 11. All right, and now I have 11 lows, 20 highs. Get rid of the smaller one. Get rid of 11. I have 9 left here, and now I am stuck in this interval. So I don't know the exact median, but I know it's somewhere in this interval. all right, which gives us the median is in the interval 60 to 64.9. It's somewhere in there. So we can also call that the median interval. All right, next up. They ask, how many students are at least 55 inches, but no more than 64.9 inches? What they're saying, at least 55 means they are greater than 55. So they are more than 55 inches. So 55 or more. So here. But we cannot be more than 64.9. Okay? We can be 64.9, but we can't be bigger than that. So we're only looking at these two. So we're going to add up the 12 and the 20, okay, which gives us 32. So that would be 32 students. All right, our last graph is a pie chart, also called a circle graph. All right, our first question. So this is Amanda, how she spends her day. What percent she spends sleeping, talking on the phone, going to school, da-da-da-da-da. All right. What percent of her time does she spend watching TV? So they didn't give us the percent there. But guys, what do all of these need to add up to? 100%. So it's going to be 100% minus everything else. Pause if you need to do it. Be 100 minus 87 gives us 13%. So she spends 13% of her time watching TV. All right, if the survey, so this survey that she did is for 24 hours in a day, how many hours does she spend sleeping? For this, we're going to set up a proportion. We're going to do how many hours she sleeps over total hours. Now, because these are percents, it will be a percent proportion. Okay? So we're going to have our regular hours. We're looking for how many hours she sleeps out of 24 total hours. And then this will be our percent side. She sleeps 33% out of 100%. From here, we cross multiply. 100x equals that times that. And then we solve for x. You should get 7.92 hours. All right, last one. If Ella, so new person, if she spends twice the amount eating as Amanda, then how many hours does she spend eating in a day? Well, she eats twice as much as Amanda. So Amanda eats 8%, which means Ella eats 16%. So again, we're going to use a proportion. Eat over total hours. So we're looking for how many hours Ella eats in 24 hours in a day. Well, her percent, so that's hours. This is our percent side. The percent that she eats a day, she spends 16% out of 100%. Remember, percent goes over 100. Go ahead and solve. We should get 3.84 hours. All right, once you feel good about this, let's go ahead and start the practice. This is your homework. Go ahead and get started. Good luck, you got this.